Good day, everyone. Welcome to Landmark University TV. I am Adetola Oladipo. It's World Water Day 2025 and driven by Landmark University Center for Research, Innovations and Discovery in collaboration with SDG 6 Research Group, which is Clean Water and Sanitation. World Water Day 2025. World Water Day is an annual event organized by United Nations. It's an observance day which happens every March 22 annually. And it's a day where the importance of fresh water is being highlighted. It's a day where we advocate for sustainable management of water resources, raising awareness of water-related issues. Data has it that 2.2 billion people on Earth lack access to clean water. So what World Water Day addresses is raising awareness of this and making sure people go in line and make sure that there is adequate water for usage by the people. It also encourages individuals, organizations, and government to take action to make sure water is being made available for the populace. And also it supports water-related projects and initiatives and also supports the achievement of SDG 6 goals. And what are these SDG 6 goals? Number one is to ensure access to clean and safe water, and also to ensure access to sanitation and good hygiene practices. So World Water Day 2025, this is part of the programs lined up in commemorating World Water Day 2025. In 2023, the theme was Accelerating Change, and there we went to the market square, raising awareness and teaching people on good attitude to water resources, telling them what to do and what not to do to make sure they always have access to clean and safe water. In 2024, the theme was Leveraging Water for Peace. Here we went to Ogbo Grammar School here in Omu-Aran, and what we did was to sensitize the secondary school students on good ways of management of water that is available to them. And also there was a talk on sanitation, how they can practice and maintain good hygiene. So this is 2025. The theme for this year is glacier preservation. And we know that we take water for granted. Sometimes when we run our tap, we get water. We don't remember that there are some that do not have access to this clean and safe water. So Landmark University, this year, we have several programs lined up for the commemoration of World Water Day 2025. And part of the programs is organizing a training for laboratory technologies, wastewaters that are being generated in the lab, be it microbial, be it chemical. How do we manage them so that they don't get their way into the water sources, thereby polluting them? Another thing we have is to initiate a collaboration. Not to initiate now, we've been collaborating with local water corporation, but we want to continue in our collaboration. And we are collaborating with them, providing some things that are needed just to contribute our own quota in our own little way. And now, for this program, we are discussing a salient points, addressing local issues now. In Landmark University, what is our attitude to water? What are we doing that is not right? What should we do to improve our attitude to water? And here with me, I have an engineer from the Directorate of Physical Planning and Development, Engineer Oluwafemi, who will be doing justice to the topic, which says water availability and conservation, the Landmark University reality. You are welcome, Engineer Oluwafemi.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome, sir. And before I will start, I would like to appreciate the Directorate for their efforts in making sure the university environment, the university community have access to clean water and in adequate quantity. Thank you very much,
You're
sir.
welcome.
So just like I said, the topic for this session is water availability and conservation, the Landmark University reality. We know that sometimes we open our taps and we get water running. So we know there is water. But I know there is still more to it than just opening our tap and getting water. What should we do? What should we not do? So the objective of this session is to discuss the current state of water availability and the conservation efforts at Landmark University and employ ways by which we can improve the sustainability. We want to have water. We don't want to have any time where we will not get water to use, as we know that water is very important. So we would like you to please enlighten the community. What is expected of us? We want to know, and we want to go walk in that line. What is expected of us? So I would ask you, just for a start and as a background, what can you say about water conservation and water availability? Okay, water availability and water conservation, sir.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Water availability in Landmark is not a problem, because by the grace of God today, the university harnesses two major sources of water: underground water and surface water. And when I mention underground water, we sink submersible boreholes, and then we also make use of dam water by treating them. A lot of resources goes into this water by making it available to faculty, staff, and students to use. That's why it is good for us to conserve and manage this water. When we talk about conservation of water, to my own opinion, we are talking about how we can manage the water that is being distributed to various facilities on campus. When the waters are being used, are we using them and are we wasting them? After opening your tap, brushing your teeth, taking your bath, are there measures being taken to recycle this water back to the system? That's my own little understanding about conservation.
Thank you very much, sir. So from what you've told us now, we see that there is water. Water is available, readily available, but the issue is the conservation.
Yeah.
We don't want to run out of water. We don't want to have any time where we open our taps and we don't get water running like we would need. So now I know that it is the conservation that is the real issue. So I want to ask us, what factors contribute to water scarcity? Because like you said now, there is water. But I know even from going through the internet, 2.2 billion people lack access to clean and safe water. Yes, we know that there are human factors, there are industrial factors that can contribute to it. But here in Landmark University, just like we know that this session is purposely for us as a university community, what are some factors that contribute to water scarcity?
Thank you very much. Initially in Landmark Universities, when I go back to 2010, 2011, 12, 13, we have difficulties in getting water because the university depends absolutely on underground water, that is borehole. And the period we normally have the challenges is during the dry season, that we normally have what is called drawdown. The water level goes down, and then most of the submersible pump can no longer have access to this underground water. So many communities suffers basically during the dry season because the river that they depend on goes dry. But what do we now need to do to make this water available 24/7? There's need for what we call water recycling. And water recycling is when you use water, is water going back to the earth? The water needs to be recycled back to what is called treatment plants. It is this treatment plant that will treat that water that you use and then send it back for domestic use. Okay. And it's been practiced in some locations in Nigeria. And Landmark University is working towards that area now.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I think you are answering some of my questions that are coming after. So before we go deeper, I want to ask us, you've told us about the sources, and one important thing I gained, that what factor contributes to water scarcity is nature. It's natural for sometimes there will be abundant water depending on the season that we are in. Thank you very much for that, sir. So I want to ask, what are the treatment processes that have been put into place before water is being released? And then what are the distribution networks? This program is specifically for those of us in Landmark University. So I know some people will say we are getting water from dam, it passes through here, it passes through there. So that is one of the aim or the objectives of this session. What are the treatment processes that have been put into place? Can we fetch water from our tap and just drink it straight away? Do we need to still treat it before it is done? And then the distribution network through the hostels to the staff quarters, the professorial quarters, and the likes.
Thank you very much. Presently, just like I said, initially we depend absolutely on borehole, but now we also harness the surface water, that is the dam water. And the dam water is what we depend on absolutely now, and the Landmark University is treating the water. When we talk about the treatment plant, we have the first stage. It passes through aeration. From aeration, it goes to flocculation, and flocculation is go through sedimentation. And then from that sedimentation, it passes through a chambers of filtration tanks. Okay. We have layers of sand, activated carbon before it now goes through the UV. Okay. Those are basically the treatment processes. Sedimentation tank, filtration tanks, then goes through the UV before being released to the community.
Okay, thank you very much. So before the water is released, the last question under that part is, there are storage tanks where this water that has been harnessed can be stored, that has been treated, can be stored before they are let out. Yeah. So I want a sort of assurance to the university community how well these tanks are being taken care of, how often they are washed, and how fit is the water for consumption and for general usage.
Well, as of the last time the water was tested, it was certified okay. I personally, in my family, we drink the water directly from the tap. So I can assure the university community that Landmark University water is safe. Just like you said, we have about 4/8 tanks, that the average capacity of each is about 350,000 liters. And then we also have about 3 ground tanks, about an average of 250,000 capacities for storage after the water has been treated. So we store this water in the ground tank and we store it in the overhead tank. And from the overhead tank, it runs through gravity into various facilities on campus. Is it hostel? Is it residential? Offices? That's just the basic principles.
Thank you very much, sir. So we've heard from the horse's mouth that the water that we get is safe for our consumption. Thank you very much for that clarification.
You're welcome.
So I'll go to the next question. What are some challenges faced by the university in providing a reliable and constant water supply? Maybe in terms of infrastructure, in terms of funding, what are some challenges that are being faced by the university?
Well, we will call it challenges, but just like I said, we are moving in phases. Presently, when you go around the campus, you will see a reticulation of pipe networks being going on, just in order to ensure that every facilities are well supplied with adequate water. So I will appreciate the management. Presently, I may not see challenges, but the area we may be looking at, just like I said initially, is how to recycle this water that we are being supplied to all our facilities on campus.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. So from there, I can see that one major challenge is, and I know it will be looked at by the management, is how can we make sure this water that is being used is being circulated and can be reused, treated properly, and then reused. Thank you, sir. So I know that we want, just like you said when we started, that water is available. It's the conservation that is the challenge. So what are some policies or some initiatives that have been put in place by the management in conserving water? I know that sometimes we'll come when the staff are not in their residential area, the main supply is turned off. I know that is one way of conserving water, to make sure that the water is not just running without anybody using it. So are there some other policies? Are there some other initiatives that have been put in place for conservation of water?
Well, presently, the students are being informed to turn off water whenever water is not running. Because, whenever you go to your tap, you open it. Once the water is not running, some will leave it. And then the moment we release water, the water will be wasting. So awareness is ongoing, just to enlighten them on the proper use of some of these fittings.
Okay, sir. What about in terms of structure? I know there are water conserving things that can be put in place. For instance, the water closets, there is a knob to flush when after urination. There is another bigger knob to flush for the real do. So what are some other facilities? Are there other things presently obtainable in Landmark University just put in place to conserve water?
Just like I said, it's just awareness. Awareness to faculty and staff.
Okay.
Whenever you have challenges in your building regarding your water closet or any of the plumbing fixture, quickly call the attention of the physical planning and development, and they will attend to it.
Okay.
Likewise, the students.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So I think he has given us a point now for students and for staff that anytime you turn on your tap and the water is not running, remember to always turn it off. Because once you leave and water starts running, there will be wastage. So raising an awareness, we say it as members of SDGC's group, and we will continue to say that we should raising awareness on how to properly use those facilities that have been made available to us. Thank you very much. So I will go now. I think you've answered a part of this question now.
Okay.
What has been the attitude of staff and students to water conservation? You said awareness have been raised by everyone, by every stakeholder. What do you think is the attitude? Has there been a right attitude to that? Or is there any other thing that you would want the university community to know and to start practicing after this interview session?
Mm-hmm. I think there's a good approach, a right attitude towards the awareness. Most of them are turning up.
Okay. So I think we've heard from him that we've been complying well. So we will urge us to continue in that so that there will be water to use for every one of us. Thank you very much, sir. So now I will ask, are there future plans that you are privy to or that you still want the management to look into? You've talked about recycling.
Yeah.
Are there other things that you would want the management to look into just for this course?
Thank you very much. Just like I mentioned earlier on, there's need for us to recycle water. And then there's also a program that we organized, I think in 2015, and a committee was set up, headed by Professor Den. They call it Rainwater Harvest Committee. Okay. We are saddled with the responsibility of coming up with what the university needs to begin to harvest this rainwater. And God really blessed us with the topography here. So any rain that falls on our ground here on campus is still going back to that dam. Okay. And the dam is what we are still harnessing now and treating.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I say that rainwater harvesting is very important. Yeah. The rainwater that we get, how can we make, not just for it to fall on the ground without being used. So rainwater harvesting is an important point that you've said concerning that. Also, technology adoptions, wastewater recycling. Wastewater recycling. Is there anything you want us to know about that?
Wastewater recycling is capital intensive, okay, but it's also a good way to go. Okay. And when we are talking about wastewater recycling, that is, the university will be coming up with what is called central sewage system.
Yes, sir.
That every waste from each facility will go to this central sewage system. And from that central sewage system, we can treat and then recycle back. Okay. I think we have that facility on ground in some universities like ABU. They have it on ground.
Okay. Yes.
Every waste coming out of the building is going to central sewage system, and then from there they treat and still send back.
Okay. So
So it's also a good way to go.
So it's a good thing to look into. We pray that the Lord will continue to enlarge Landmark University and give us the capacity to do that.
Amen.
So I think we've come to the end of the interview, but before we would go, any final words, final advice to the viewers?
I would just want to urge every faculty and staff and student of Landmark University that they should give us time. The present administration are cooperating with the Director of Physical Planning and Development. And by the grace of God, very soon, there will be 24 hours water supply on campus. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you
welcome.
for obliging to come for this interview.
It's a privilege.
Yes, now we have come to the end of the interview. And just like we've heard from him, we have a lot to do as staff, members of staff, faculty, and also as students. Sometimes we conserve water, we brush our teeth, and we leave the tap running. Nothing costs us. Once it's not in use, we turn the tap off. Also, if we have sprinklers, we can reduce the time of usage of these sprinklers just to conserve water. And also, if you notice any faults in the taps and other facilities that are being provided, we should not hesitate to call on the directorate, and they are always ready to cater for our needs. So we've come to the end of the interview, but before I leave, it's World Water Day. We know water is life, and our attitude says a lot about our access to clean and safe water for the world to be a safe place for us to stay in. So keep taking care of the water resources that are available to you and keep being responsible. Thank you very much.